up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today is 2 years since I quit drinking alcohol, and so I wanted to just do a video kind of talking about my experience in the past 2 years, and did a video update last year when it was my 1-year anniversary. And so I thought, why not? It's something that has really changed my life. This isn't the first time that I've quit. I quit drinking 2019 and didn't drink until like 2021, and then I decided to start drinking again. It took me on a spiral that was really negative. It was about 2 years of really not a good time. My experience with alcohol is very normal, very much like the way most people experience alcohol. I know that alcohol is a really big part of socializing for people, and that was kind of the hardest thing the first time that I quit. I didn't know how I would socialize, and I used to struggle with social anxiety so much. But if you find yourself abusing alcohol and feeling like it takes you on a spiral where you drink, you are not happy with yourself, and you feel like crap the next day, then it's just something good to cut down on, at the very least. One of the things that I felt a lot of was guilt. Whenever I would drink, I would just feel like I said things and did things that were not in alignment with who I wanted to be. It just never made me feel good. I found that alcohol made me actually less confident, even though for a time it served its purpose in that it made me feel like I was able to socialize a little bit better. So during the time when I was very socially anxious, it had its purpose, it had its role. I think as long as we are engaging in anything that feels like it serves us, we are going to continue engaging in it. When I really felt like it was no longer serving me is when I stopped, and it was pretty easy. I quit May 1st, 2023, now May 1st, 2025. First off, I lost a ton of weight. Whenever I would drink, I would also get the munchies. I would end up eating a lot of really junky, fatty food, and I think that the body kind of craves something to kind of soak up the alcohol. Weight just dropped off. Another thing that really kind of shifted for me was feeling really comfortable being with myself and as myself in social situations. I would still go out and be around people. I'm in a band, so we play shows a lot, and people are drinking, and I have no problem with it. I think this is the most empowering part of it. I think a lot of us, when we drink, we think that it is going to help us be able to connect with others more. That's actually a lie that the alcohol mind tells us. You don't need it in order to connect with others. You don't need it in order to socialize. In fact, it makes you a little bit more socially awkward, even though you think that it's actually making you less socially awkward. It's made me a much more calm, grounded person. Alcohol can really take you on these ups and downs. It can take you really out of balance. Being able to let go of something that we turn to provide a feeling of connection is actually going to make it less of a possibility for us to connect. One thing that I noticed as well is that my skin really got better. When I started drinking again, after the 2 years, something really interesting happened. I started to break out in like a big rash on my chest, and it was really itchy, and it was just like constantly, like for probably like the first month. I always kind of felt like maybe I was slightly allergic to alcohol. A lot of people kind of are, and it can make you like kind of hot, flushed face and hot in your neck and your ears, and it always did that to me. But the rash was really interesting. It was like very aggressively scratching. Didn't stop me. I kind of kept drinking at that point. You know, we'll do anything to do the thing that is an addiction. It's an addiction for a lot of people. There's a lot of young people that are actually choosing to live without alcohol, and I think that that is really a special thing. Being able to rely on yourself as you are brings a certain amount of confidence. Having an interaction with somebody when they're really drunk and you're sober is also very interesting. Maybe they think that they're like really opening up to you, but you can kind of see it in their eyes, and you can see it in their mobility and the way that they kind of express themselves, that there's almost this kind of feeling of unworthiness there. If you're getting yourself to the point where you're drunk and tipsy and not able to really communicate properly, that's something to take a look at. I think in general these days I have a real pull towards just being myself. And that means just completely sober, just with myself. That's a really refreshing feeling to have. As somebody who my entire life felt like the way that I was not enough, was not good enough. And so I turned to drugs and alcohol and food and media in order to make myself feel better. Since I quit drinking, all of that's really improved. One big thing that really changed when I quit was that's when my band, Headz, we basically started right around that point. We had been rehearsing to play our first show, and I played our first show without alcohol. Ever since then, it's just had a lot happened since then. I remember that was kind of the same thing when I quit the first time. My creative endeavors really kind of expanded and took off. There's a certain way in which we can block ourselves with certain substances as well, and when we can let them go, even for short periods of time, to just kind of detox the body and clear the consciousness. There's nothing that you need in order to be enhanced. You are perfect the way that you are. I'm not telling anybody to quit drinking. This is really just me kind of reflecting because it's a really special day for me. I feel very proud of myself, and I feel very happy that this is kind of the way that I engage in the world. Maybe the first 2 months of quitting, there was some cravings. After that, I didn't have any. And then kind of in the last 6 months, there have been moments where it's been like, man, I would love a glass of wine, or I would love a beer. Even moments, just to be completely honest, when I'm stressed and something is kind of overwhelming, there'll be this feeling of, I just want to get drunk. What's really interesting is that these thoughts, they can't do anything to you. Just because they're there doesn't mean that you have to actually go and engage in something. That's huge, and that is a huge thing that I've learned from quitting drinking and quitting substances in general. Your mind will tell you all these things, even when it comes to food, it'll be like, I really want this really fatty, junky thing that's not going to be good for me. So what that the thought is there. It doesn't mean that you have to go engage in it. I kind of just allow for that feeling to be there and that thought to be there. And I recognize that it actually never ends up being the way that we imagine. We think if I go and have this night out getting drunk because you have this association with how fun it was one time that you did it with a friend, because sometimes it can be really fun, and you try to replicate that, it never ends up being the same way. We've all experienced that before. It ends up actually being way worse. These thoughts can exist within me, and I'm not afraid of them. I just notice them, and I notice where they're coming from. And it's this real desire and urge within, I think, humanity, human consciousness, to one, kind of sabotage ourselves, and two, to find a way to numb ourselves. These thoughts only really come to me when I'm feeling stressed or anxious or unhappy in some way. So I just see them, and I see the association of the connection of why the thought is there and what it wants. And I think that that's a really strong practice to kind of bring into anybody's lives. So noticing the thoughts, noticing the urges and the desires, and not necessarily doing the thing that they're telling you to do. I feel very strong and stable because what I know more than anything else, it's not like I'm depriving myself of something. It's just that I know that it's not going to serve me and it's not going to make me happy. I choose to live without alcohol. I probably could just have a drink here and there, but I just don't see the point at this point in my life. There was a time when it had its purpose of socializing, and now it just doesn't really do anything for me. I can still have a drink with people, and it doesn't have to be an alcoholic beverage. You can hold a drink in your hand and have it be totally trick your mind into thinking that you're drinking, but you're just having a non-alcoholic drink. But you feel like you're in community and you're having a drink with someone, but it's like a kombucha or something, and those are a lot more enjoyable for me as well anyways. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of reflect on that and kind of give a video space for just how grateful I am that I've gotten to 2 years, and I hope that maybe this inspires you. If you're somebody who is looking to quit drinking or cut down, it inspires you to know that it does improve your life tremendously in so many ways, and it'll just make you a happier person in general. That's that. 2 years. Super happy about it. I'll be back next week with another video. I will see you then.